I'd like to introduce Adam from the United States who has multiple sclerosis. Welcome, Adam.
Hi, Linda.
Could you tell us when you first started to notice MS symptoms?
Well, I was actually diagnosed in January of 2007. I had a lot of symptoms that were unknown for years prior to that, probably before 2000.
Mhm. What were your symptoms at the time of diagnosis?
Well, I had a massive migraine, kind of headache at the base of my skull. I had long-lasting carpal tunnel symptoms through my arms running up to my shoulders. I had a loss of feeling for temperature within my arms, excessive loss of balance, loss of muscle. They were kind of tight, extreme fatigue for years, sometimes paralysis when I'd wake up in the morning, excessive sweating, twitching, um, and bladder and bowel control.
Mhm. So, what medication were you offered at that time?
Copaxone, daily
Mhm.
injections.
And how old were you then, Adam?
34.
How did it impact on your life being diagnosed with MS? Having the
Actually,
label,
pardon me.
having the label MS.
Actually, it wasn't bad. The diagnosis was okay. It gave a reason for what was wrong. I didn't think I was crazy at that time. I think a lot of times being misdiagnosed for years with so many different things, that was more of a an impact on my life.
Mhm. And how did you get on with the Copaxone?
Um, I started that back in, I want to say,
Right. Um, so I'll ask you that last question again. How did you find taking? Uh, start again. Um, how did you get on with taking Copaxone?
it was a daily injection. It wasn't so bad doing the injection for me. It was more of an impact on the financial burden to my future, how I would afford to be on this medication if by chance I lost my job, concerns like that.
Mhm. How long did you take Copaxone for? Are you still taking it?
I took it through starting LDN, and I continued to take it probably about 6 months after. So I would say I was on Copaxone for at least a year and a half.
Mhm. How did you find LDN?
My wife emailed me a YouTube video clip. She joined a support group, and someone had blessed her and sent her just a short little YouTube video clip, and she forwarded to me.
Mhm. And was it easy to get a prescription for LDN?
For me, it was. I did my research beforehand. I went well prepared to my neurologist, who was prescribing me the Copaxone at the time, and I basically laid it out in front of him and demanded that that's what I was going to try next. And I agreed to continue to taking Copaxone at that time.
Mhm. And was it easy to get the prescription filled?
At first, not necessarily because he didn't understand how to write it. He didn't know much about it. I found out more on my end how to make it myself, which I don't recommend. But then I think within the first month, I was able to get him to write a proper way, proper script for it.
Mhm. And when you first started, did you notice any introductory side effects?
Zero. My
Okay.
wife said that my leg twitched for a couple of or one night, but I don't think that that was connected.
And how long did it take before you started to notice improvements?
Very next morning.
What did you notice?
Um, I went from feeling like I was 85 years old when I would wake up every day for the last 10 years to feeling like I was 15 again. Um, that was the main thing right off the bat. I wasn't fatigued. I had a ton of energy and I couldn't explain why other than the LDN.
Did it help with your other symptoms?
Yeah, in time it did. In a very short time. Actually, at the time when I started LDN, I had flu-like symptoms that wouldn't go away after 2 courses of antibiotics, and that flu went away within, I believe, 3 or 4 days. A lot of my bladder, things like a bladder infection, that went away within 2 or 3 days. Um, just about everything, all my symptoms that I had, with the exception of anything that was permanent, um, like nerve damage, all of those symptoms went away.
If you were to rate your quality of life before LDN on a score of 1 till 10, what would it have been?
Probably about a 2.
And what would you say it is today?
Probably about an 8.
That's amazing, isn't it? That is very good.
It is.
What would you say to other people who are contemplating trying LDN?
Well, if you're contemplating on trying LDN, you've already heard about it, which is the first part, and I think that's the most important part. Um, for me, it works. I'm a strong believer in it. I tell whoever I can about it. Um, my biggest thing is, if you know about it, you should look more into it and don't give up. Just because one doctor says, I don't agree with that because it's maybe not FDA approved in the US, or different places like that. Just be persistent and keep trying. For me, I lucked out.
So, how would you say your life is now? Would you say it's more or less back to normal?
I would say it's about 90% back to normal. My biggest benefit, I probably should have said this a couple of minutes ago, but my biggest benefit was I was able to get off of the Copaxone, which is a daily injection. And at that time, when I started it, my insurance was paying 2,500 every month. Um, and that fear of, worrying about how I would afford to continue that treatment is away, because now I'm able to not um, rely on the daily injections. I don't take them at all. And the Copaxone cost me, $65, like US dollars, every 3 months without insurance. So it's affordable, and that worry is gone.
Did you notice any difference in your health once you stopped taking the Copaxone?
When I stopped taking Copaxone,
Yes.
no, it was no.
So that's. Oh, I don't want this to be on the recording, but I mean, Copaxone is like all the interferon drugs toxic, isn't it?
Gee, some of the other things that were, you know, leading up to my diagnosis of the MS, um, those went away after I was diagnosed. But I think with the LDN, I pretty much don't have anything that I really worry about, and have any type of symptoms.
Mm. What does your doctor think to your improvements since you've been on LDN?
He's amazed. However, my doctor, you know, talks a lot and says he'll tell all his patients, but since March of 2008, he hasn't told one person.
And more importantly, what does your wife think?
Oh, she's definitely happy, and can't believe the change.
Must have a big impact on her life as well as yours.
Definitely, on all of our lives. We were able to actually conceive, which I don't think I was able to years before trying. Just last year, a year ago, we had our first son.
Oh, how wonderful. It's quite a blessing.